So welcome to my kitchen. This is Cooking Today. Hi, welcome to Cooking Today. Happy holidays. Don't you just love this season? I just love it. I love it so much. So many things, especially just food related and scent related, just really get me excited. And y'all, today are two of my absolute favorites. I'm probably gonna say that the whole entire month of December, that this is all my favorites, but they are, or I wouldn't be doing them. So today I am making my fresh simmering stovetop potpourri. Fresh potpourri that smells like Christmas. Isn't that delicious? Can't wait to show you how to do that. Easy, and I'm going to give you a little gift option as well that you're going to really love. And then second, we are going to make Euna Mae'S lemon glazed cake. It is her recipe. You know, Euna Mae is my grandmother that I named my kitchen store after, and she made this lemon glazed pound cake for everything. Birthdays, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So we cannot have this cake without thinking about her. And since she's not with us anymore, don't you just find comfort in your family recipes? It just makes me think about her. Every time I make it, I think about all the times that she had this sitting on her counter, or that I sat and watched her make it in the kitchen. Just really, really special. So I can't wait to show you it. And it's super easy. And I have a funny story I'll have to tell you about it. But first, let's make this easy holiday, the simmering stovetop potpourri. It's really kind of a recipe and really kind of not. But my sister-in-law actually gave me this recipe. My sister-in-law Allison gave me this recipe several years ago, and I've made it ever since. She's made it. I've put it on my Euna Mae'S blog. People are really loving it, so I thought y'all needed to know. I have a little pot. Y'all, this is so easy. Little pot. And I have some fresh cranberries, not dried, fresh cranberries. You know, you get them in the bag right now at the grocery. And I just pour enough in there to kind of cover the bottom in a good little layer, like about 2 deep. And then look, I even have a little extra left to either gift or to make another batch. And then, so fun. So fun, so fun. I'm just gonna get my littlest cutting board, my little baby one here. And I've got one fresh orange. And I have done this several ways. You can quarter it. This is not specific by any stretch. I'm gonna do slices, like good thick slices, like rounds. I think they're so pretty floating in this potpourri. So I got about 3 slices out, look. Isn't that pretty? So we're just gonna put these down right in the top. Look how pretty we've already gotten. Isn't that nice? Look at the color. And then I have a star anise. You can do 1 or 2 or 3. Has a little bit of like a licorice-y scent. We put this in one of our Lipton teas and made an apple chai. Do you remember that? I'm doing about 3 in there. And then I have real cinnamon sticks. I'm gonna do, well, I have 3 whole ones. I'll go ahead and just do 3. Whole cinnamon sticks. Drop those in there. It's almost so good, you almost feel like you could drink it. It smells delicious. Y'all like Christmas and holidays and warmth and movies and presents and PJs and blankets, you know, all the good things. And then cloves. And I love cloves. I love this smell more than probably anything else during the season. So I'm gonna do a pretty good handful of them. I'm gonna go a little heavier. Of whole cloves, not ground, whole, okay? So look at this beautiful, fresh potpourri. All we're gonna do, run a little water just to the top, and then put it, look at this, isn't that pretty? I'm gonna get my cinnamon sticks down in the water so that they can get, you know, damp and really let go of their scent. And then, y'all, you just put it on your stove. Look how easy. You can sit it back on the back burner and just let it do its thing. You know, we could just scoot everything over and just tuck it back in the back, and you just turn it on low. and let it just simmer. And I just peek at it every once in a while and add a little more water and stir it. And it just smells fantastic and fresh and so good in your house. Now, here's what you need to know. It's beautiful right now. It's got color and it's got orange and it's got those cranberries. It's gonna look like mud after it cooks for a little while. It stops being pretty and you're gonna think you messed it up, and you didn't. It just is getting saturated and good, and it's kind of almost like cooking down, just like we were cooking down something else, like a sauce or something on the stove. It's not gonna be pretty after this, but here's what's fun. You keep stirring it a little bit and then adding a little bit more water, and it just gets better and better. You can throw in, when you're doing your holiday cooking, throw in another slice of orange or throw in another handful of cloves to kind of freshen it up. You can store it in your refrigerator, pull it back out, stick it right back on the stove, and just keep cooking it down and cooking it down over the season. Delicious. I'm gonna start squeezing some lemons. When we come back, we're gonna start on our cake. This is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. We are baking my granny's lemon pound cake. Lemon glazed cake is what we always called it. It's delicious. We have our Simmering Stovetop Potpourri, our little fresh, yummy cranberries and oranges and cloves and cinnamon and star anise that we've put in there, and we're just letting that simmer. Oh yes, giving it a little waft. You can just kind of stir it around, and kind of at the beginning when you're getting going on it, the more you kind of stir and activate it, the more you're gonna kind of, it's gonna let out some of the scent. It's delicious. I am working on our lemons. You need about a half a cup of fresh lemon juice, and please, I plead with you, buy fresh lemons. Y'all have told me on Instagram before, you never can find the fake lemon juice. Well, that's because God doesn't want you to use it. I'm just kidding. You can use it in a pinch, but please buy your own lemons for this cake. Euna Mae'S would croak if she knew that y'all were using fake lemon juice. She always believed, it was one of the things she told me about this cake, that you absolutely cannot substitute artificial lemon juice for fresh lemon juice. It was really something she stood by on this cake. I think I'm getting it on my shirt a little bit, but that's okay. It's just part of being in the kitchen. So I have used my reamer to get the juice out of, I don't know, three or four lemons or so. And I'm just straining it into my measuring cup because you need the half cup of it. So let me get an eyeball look here. I think we're good. Ooh, I'm a little bit high, and I don't want to be too much because it would affect the texture of our cake. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pour it off right here just to be sure, because we're going to use a little extra lemon juice, as a matter of fact. There we go. We're going to use the extra lemon juice at the end for our glaze, so we would not want to throw that out. Okie doke. So we have our oven set to 350 degrees. We have our mixer, and y'all, this is so easy that I'll tell you, for years and years and years, I asked her for this recipe. I said, Granny, will you give me the recipe for that? Don't forget this year. And then she just avoided it. She avoided it. And I mean, I'm talking about for years. And I never could figure out what the deal was. I thought maybe she was forgetful. But I don't know. It was probably not too long before she died, maybe just 2 years before she died. I finally said, what is the story with that cake? Why will you not give me that recipe? And she was a great cook. She cooked from scratch a lot. And she said, like she was frustrated with me, she said, because it starts with a box. And she was mortified, like mortified to give that up. That this cake, that all of the Nelsons, like 25 of us together, would fight over, would expect, couldn't wait to see it, whatever. She was mortified, like literally, that it started with a box mix, because that was not generally her style. But y'all, it's delicious. And I told her, I don't care, I still love you. I still think you're a great cook. But if you can, I've always said this, if you can take a really good, tasty shortcut, why wouldn't you? Not here. The elbow grease on this one. The shortcut is the lemon cake mix. So what I have is a lemon cake mix, a lemon instant pudding mix, instant's key there, and then 3 tablespoons of flour. And I've just put them down here into my mixer, and I've got it on low just to kind of incorporate it and just break some of the clumps up. Okay, and I'm just gonna let that keep going. Oh, well, rats. Let me grab a, well, no, we're fine. Okay, so then I'm gonna turn that off. We need to add our lemon juice, okay? So I've just turned that off. We're gonna add in our liquids. So there's our 1/2 cup of lemon juice. And then you need 3/4 of a cup of water. Yep, there's 3/4. And then 3/4 of a cup of oil. And I just use canola because it's, you know, mild tasting. Well, I got a brand new one. And let me tell you this real quick. We're going to talk about bundt cakes. And bundt cakes are classic and they're old school. And I know that there are 1,000 like Instagram accounts. Watch this. Don't try that at home. There are 1,000 Instagram accounts with these beautiful layered cakes and all this. Euna Mae'S was a bundt cake girl. And she is the one who gave me my very first bundt pan ever. And I absolutely love it because you know what? It is instantly pretty. You don't have to add sprinkles to it. You don't have to layer it. You don't have to do all these things. If you have a beautiful, good bundt pan, then it's pretty on its own because you've got this pretty shape and it's, you know, you're good to go. And so she gave me my first bundt pan. She believed in it so, so much. And so that's all I've ever used. And I've got this beautiful one right here. And we're gonna grease it when we get back. So I've added my lemon juice, my oil, my water, a splash of vanilla, and we're gonna dump in 4 eggs. And when we come back, we're gonna put it in our bundt pan, stick it in the oven. This is cooking today.
Iced tea, sponsored by Lipton.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. I'm glad you're here. I am making 2 of our favorite things about the holidays, always. Our Simmering Stovetop Potpourri, which is this wonderful, fresh, simmering potpourri that simmers all day long and smells so good, and you just continue to kind of stir and add water, and it has cranberries and cloves and cinnamon and orange and all those good things that we just love when it's just in the air. It's delicious. Then I have in my mixer, I'm looking at it to be sure I've got it going good. Here we go. I have all the makings for Euna Mae'S lemon glazed cake. Starts with a boxed cake mix, much to her, you know, chagrin. She was embarrassed by that, but it's delicious, and it became an heirloom recipe that she handed down to us and that we all make, and it makes us think about her. Pass down your recipes and give them to your kids and your grandkids while you can still remember how to write them down. And better yet, stand in the kitchen with them and show them how you do it. I've said before that Sam's grandmother is the one who taught me how to make gravy because she said, come over here and I'll show you. And now that she's not with us anymore, I love remembering that moment with her in the kitchen. So it's really important to hand down these recipes because this makes us think of her every year. Okay, I added in my 4 eggs. You can use 3 eggs. I have started later in my life adding in 4 eggs. You can do either really as long as they're large. The 4th egg gives it a little bit more loft, and I really love it when it's a little bit taller. And then I've just got my mixer on. I'm giving it a good little beat there real quick. And now I have my good bundt pan. And by good bundt pan, I mean a good bundt pan. I know a lot of them are really thin aluminum, and they cause a lot of heartache and grief and weeping and gnashing of teeth because they cook really quickly on the outside and they're still like wet as sop on the inside. They don't cook very evenly. This is one of your must-haves for your holiday season is a good bundt pan. It's a really great non-stick heavy guy. Of course, I have like a million of them at Euna Mae'S. We sell them like crazy, especially with this recipe and with Grand Strawberry Cake recipe that we made earlier this season. Classic timeless bundts. You can't go wrong. So I've given it a really good spray down of Baker's Joy. It's a cooking spray that has flour in it. Ooh, we're starting to simmer over here. Give that a little stir. It has flour in it, so it's really great nonstick. Oh, the cranberries are busting open and we're getting that smell. Y'all, it's delicious. I mean, you could throw a little cider in there instead of water, or maybe some kind of like a little red spirit of some kind and let that simmer down and make it like a mulled cider or a mulled wine. You can just kind of taste and see and go if you really want to. Okay, so we have greased our bundt pan really, really well. We have our oven on 350. Isn't this so easy, y'all? And now I'm just pouring it in. Pouring it all the way around. Oh, I just love hearing those cranberries pop in that pan. Ooh, I'm making a mess. I'm slinging. Okay. Here we go. Getting all the last bits. Now, you know, even your best mixers sometimes don't get down all the way to the bottom of your bowl when you're mixing. So I always take my bowl scraper and kind of get in there and give it one good, you know, spin around in the bottom just to be sure that we've gotten all of it incorporated. And then I like to give it a little shimmy so it's nice and even. And we're going to put it in a 350-degree oven for about 40 minutes or so. And this is a toothpick test. You would stick a toothpick in it and have it come out clean. I always suggest, always, if it says 40 minutes, then start checking it at 35. You don't want to over bake, because once something is over baked, there is no saving it, and this would be a crying shame if you lost this cake. You'd be so sad because it smells amazing. Okay, so once our cake bakes, 40 minutes, toothpick test. This is so important to your holiday baking in your bundt pan. You want to let your bundt pan, when you remove it from the oven, you want to let it sit for about 10 minutes. I always reset my timer. I even reset it because it's so important that 10 minutes is the key for your cake to cool enough to kind of firm itself up, but not cool so much that it basically begins to stick again to your pan, and then you can't invert it. And I know that's a lot of people's grief story about using a bundt pan. That's the key. 10 minutes, we're going to let this cool, and then we're going to invert it, and then I'm going to put this amazing glaze on it. Amazing glaze, it sounded like Amazing Grace. This amazing glaze, and all it is a 1/4 cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice, a splash of vanilla, and I'm just going to whisk in some powdered sugar till it's a good little drizzling glaze. We're going to put it on our cooled cake when we come back. This is Cooking Today.
Candy, sponsored by Mars.
Hi, welcome back. We are just wrapping up an episode of recipes that just warms me top to bottom. We have made our simmering potpourri, fresh cranberries and all kinds of good things. We've got simmering down on the stove. And one of my favorite things is to give that potpourri to friends and neighbors, teachers, whoever. And all I do is I put the cranberries and a full, like a small orange, maybe even like a cutie, like a little orange in a jar, and go ahead and fill it with like the cloves and the star anise. And then you can even wrap the cinnamon sticks in like a bow and tie it and give it with a little tag that tells how to use it. It is the prettiest, freshest holiday treat to give. And then we cooked our cake, we baked our cake for 40 minutes, checked it, allowed it to cool for 10 minutes, and then have inverted it and have allowed it to cool for another few minutes or so. You want to frost or ice a cooled cake. If it's too hot and we start to make our glaze, it'll drip down so far on the sides and it'll just run to the bottom. We want it to stay on top. So here's my glaze with my powdered sugar, my lemon juice, and a little bit of vanilla. And it needs to be thicker than thinner. If it's too thin, it's going to just pool at the bottom. We want it to be nice and thick. And do a nice slow drizzle all the way around your cooled cake. Serve it up for your holiday gathering and enjoy it, y'all. This is one of Euna Mae'S signatures right here. Hope you'll try it at home. Love every bite. This is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company. Kitchenware is provided by Euna Mae'S. Iced tea, sponsored by Lipton. Candy, sponsored by Mars.